All right, what is up, everybody? Aaron the Dog back with the first breakdown of the week. A little bit of busy stuff with life came up earlier, so the Cage Warriors breakdown to be announced. But here with the big one, my car of the year, many people's maybe. And so, therefore, I needed a good crew to do this with. Wow, Steve in there. What up, Steve? Good to see you, MMA Minutes. The MMA Minute. Good to see you here, Steve. Moise at the carousel here. Justin, been tailgating since 9:30, saying the crowd's getting angry. Give us something to let the people know. At least come on, balcony, speak to your people. So all right, I'm here, Justin. I'm sorry. And then, yeah. Oh shit, it is Meni. It's a big show when Meni makes the appearance because Meni. Uh, what was the last card you were on for, Meni?
276.
276. That was a decent card. We had a good time bringing that one down. So, yeah, he shows up for the big ones. Steve here live. So, the MMA Minute, go follow him everywhere. Love Steve. Congratulations on the marriage and everything. And with me, somewhat regular co-host now, MMA Wagers. Me and Brendan go way back anyways. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. Happy to be here, ready to break down an epic card on paper. So let's get it. Let's get this breakdown going. Let's get this money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're definitely going to get to it. MMA Wagers and MMA Ideas. That's where Meni can be found at, breaking matchups, getting his sources out there, working with MMA Island, working wherever he needs to. Yeah, Meni's doing big things. We all know Meni. So definitely give these guys a follow, give them the love. Yeah, I'm super excited for 281. I am going to be going. It's at Madison Square Garden. If it's a card at Madison Square Garden, I'm going to go. It's just simple as that. But when it's a card with Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira at the top of it, I think it's one of the best main events of the year. Hopefully it lives up to that. Top to bottom, though, just from a betting perspective, I think the best match card of the year, in my opinion. I think every single side can be legitimately argued for in every single fight, even the co-main event, which I do think is a slaughter, but we've seen a few times this year in leagues, including the UFC, where slaughters have not turned out that way. Matthias Scheffel is going to be a millionaire in a couple weeks. Watch, calling it right now with the PFL. But anyways, and I count him completely out against Bruno. So this is MMA. We're here to discuss. We're going to have a ton of disagreements on this card. I think that's a very, very useful information when you're making your decision on who you want to bet on and who you don't want to bet on. And just in general, if you're looking for picks. So that's all going to be encompassed here. That's what we look for on our breakdown show. But yeah, we got 14 fights to break down. I'm just going to move it off the last fighter I was doing some a little bit of thoughts on before the fight, just so I don't tip it there. But yeah, let's jump into this card. I will have timestamps in the description as always. My voice is this raspy now. I can't imagine what it's going to be next week for the breakdown. The breakdown hopefully can happen next week. I'm probably not going to have a voice. And rest in peace to my girlfriend who's going to meet her first MMA event ever. She's choosing to go to this fight with me. So good luck to you, Abby. But let's go into this one. Starting at the 205 division. Good fight here. Carlos Ulberg versus Nikolai Negromanu. Probably said that name wrong, but if you're new to the channel, I say names wrong once in a while. It does not change the fact that I do know what I'm talking about with this, as do both my co-hosts.
I'm definitely guilty for that too.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Just my 2 cents making the trip in. Yeah, love to see it, guys. Thank you all for making the trip here on a Wednesday. But yeah, Carlos Ulberg versus Nikolai here. Really good fight. Carlos Ulberg, one of the 4 out of city kickboxing taking place on this card. In general, that's worked out pretty well for city kickboxing when they've stacked up their fighters. 6-1 is Ulberg coming into this one. His one loss coming against Kennedy Njoku, Nikolai Negromanu. 13-1, only 28 years old. He looks a little older. Has that split over Kennedy. So the similar opponent, Nikolai does have the win over. This one's pretty simple for me. The way that he fought with your Porturia, basically the way he's going to fight here with Carlos Ulberg. How good is Carlos Ulberg's MMA game overall? How good is his gas tank? I get he went to a decision with Fabio Charant. I don't rate Fabio Charant very highly. I rate him quite lowly. So for me, I do think Carlos can catch Nikolai early. I think he's got the hands to do it. I think as this fight goes on, you're just seeing that gas tank tick away, and you're seeing Nikolai kind of chip away at it. Nikolai's a kind of a guy who's going to fight how he needs to win a fight. Some fights he'll mix it up more on the feet. I think some fights he'll go more to making it a grimy wrestling affair. I think here makes it a grimy wrestling affair, and the fans who do make it early, so myself and others, I'm not going to be booing, but you might hear some boos in the crowd if Nikolai wins, and you're going to hear a lot of cheers. If Carlos wins, I do think both guys have a route. I just think Nikolai's kind of grimy route's going to do it here. Double the experience, I think, is a big deal still for Carlos, who, he's signed 7 fights in MMA, and I just don't like how he looked against even like a guy like Fabio Charant. He didn't show me enough in that fight, really. And so that's my thoughts. And with this, I'll kind of go back and forth, and we'll kind of rotate through this. I'll start with you on this one, Brendan, and then we'll finish with the man Meni. And then next fight, we'll kind of rotate here.
Yeah, so for sure. Yeah, Nikolai obviously has way more experience. He's 4-1 in the UFC. Carlos Ulberg, his overall MMA record is 5-1. So, yeah, very limited MMA experience, but he comes from a kickboxing background. He's a former 2-time champion and king in the ring. Yeah, I just don't like his opposition too much. Like, he got starched by Kennedy, but that was a war against Nchikua in his debut. That was fight of the night. He came back, beat Fabio 30-27. It was like an Israel Adesanya performance. Then he starched Tafon in 1:15. So, yeah, Nikolai has never been finished, though. That's the thing. He only has 1 loss on his record, and that's in his UFC debut to a guy that's not in the UFC anymore, Safarov.
Yeah, that's a bad loss for sure.
But that was in his UFC debut as well. We can give him a little bit of a pass. But yeah, and he has 2 decision wins. They both are by split. So I'm going to look at the split decision prop in this fight as well. Nikolai could grind this out for sure. He's at an Extreme Couture these days. He's been active. He beat Kennedy. I know MMA math doesn't work, but he did beat him by a split decision. But yeah, I like Carlos Ulberg as well. He turns 32 next week. I'm going to definitely put a City Kickboxing parlay in, but at the end of the day, I think Nikolai will grind this out unless he gets caught.
Yep, that pretty similar. And Meni, bring us home real quick. I'll just catch up on the comments and then Meni. But yeah, Justin, I did like this comment. I like Ulberg, everything about him, marketable, obviously, but Nikolai is so good. He takes a punch and comes forward. That could work against him because I do think Ulberg kind of has that precision and power to where if your game plan is to take his best shot, it's almost like a Sean Strickland, Alex Pereira type situation where you're not going to get through that shot, not calling him that. And then he says, we eat with our eyes. We want to order Ulberg, but Nick is probably worth the price. Team Euro trash indeed. Yeah, go ahead, Meni. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I think Ulberg will win. I see a round two knockout. I don't know if he's going to stop Nikolai's wrestling all the way, but I think he'll limit it enough where he'll keep it on the feet a lot. And Ihor did significantly rock Nikolai to a degree at UFC 277. And I think Ulberg can really take advantage of that and put Nikolai away. But Nikolai is very good. He has great grappling, like he showed at 277. He's very heavy puncher, as he showed when he finished the fight in July. So I think Carlos Ulberg will catch him in the second round and knock him out. But I really wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah, so you're going to get this a lot tonight, but I'm pretty happy we got 2-1 on this one. I totally understand both sides of it. It's a minus 130 on Ulberg right now. It's kind of, and plus 110 on Nikolai.
I thought Nikolai was a bigger underdog.
Yeah, the money is I think a lot of people are kind of on I think the reason that two of us are on Nikolai makes sense here and why a lot of the money has shifted in on him. It is a fight that, kind of that type of line has written all over it. Gets him early or it becomes a grind fest and it goes to decision. Also that split decision on Oberg might pay very, very well. So the split play could really pay off here.
Yeah, I can see these rounds being close.
Yeah, I think it's close as well, but minus 130. Not seeing the split number currently on my book, but minus 130 for Oberg. So Meni going with the favorite, plus 110 on the underdog, who two of us are on here. And then Tefon came back way too early. I agree. Tefon, the first shot he took against Oberg, that fight, I mean, it's great that Oberg got a highlight finish, but you saw, Tefon got knocked out like 3 times on the way down. But next fight here.
Oberg's jab is good. Oberg has a good jab.
Yeah, I mean, he's a world class.
Getting better as well. So.
Yeah, he's a world class boxer, so makes sense. But good fight to start out the card. I'm really excited to be there early on to see that. Next fight here at bantamweight, Julio Arce versus Montel Jackson. Before I brought up this page to share it, I was taking it off the Tapology page. I didn't want to reveal who the fighter was that I was looking at, getting my last thoughts on. It was Julio Arce. I don't really rate Julio Arce very highly. I'm sorry to say that. But there's just something about after he won that Dan Ige fight that I get. We've seen how Dan Ige's become. I didn't think Dan Ige was that good going into that fight. It was two guys coming off of Dana White's Contender Series early on, like 2017 type of range. And it was just a bloody affair, and Julio Arce was supposed to really cruise in that fight, and he definitely didn't. Then I saw him against Julian Erosa. I had a big shot on Julian Erosa at plus 500. Julian Erosa was. Julio Arce was minus 800 for that fight, and it was a back and forth affair. And then Julian left his hand down in the third round, counter left kick by Julio Arce. And so when I pick Julio Arce, I'm wrong. Either way, if I go with him, I'm wrong. I've been wrong. If I'm right, I went with him against Dawodu for some reason. I was wrong. It was a split decision. But either way, wouldn't really trust my read on Julio Arce here. Montel Jackson, a guy who I rate pretty highly when he uses his wrestling. When he doesn't, I rate him bottom 20% of the division probably. He's pretty low volume, doesn't use his length well at all. Uses that leg kick sometimes, and I think that's a big, sometimes on that capital S. He's got, he does, kind of reach out and use his reach, but it's more to measure his opponent for eventually kind of going for wrestling. But I don't know. This is a fight where I don't feel good about either guy. Personally, I think if Montel Jackson wrestles, that'd be great. But Julio Arce has a 92% takedown defense in the UFC. That's really, really good, in case you don't know. He also uses his movement really well. He's good at volume. He's fought against guys with really good length before. He also is the classic Charles Rosa, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. He won his last one against Willie Cat. He's probably going to lose here, right? Montel seems like the easy choice, but Julio is from New York. Julio's going to have a lot of energy coming into this. He's fought well and won in New York before. I just got a feeling Julio gets greasy here and wins a decision. I just don't know how Montel wins this fight unless he wrestles. If he wrestles, then Montel can look like he's been in a lot of his fights a minus 600. But if he doesn't wrestle, this gets greasy and Julio takes a decision. And Montel just fails to show me he consistently will wrestle. And 92% takedown defense, I think Julio's movement and volume wins a decision. Julio Arce takes a decision. I am not a Julio fan, and I'm horrible at picking his fights. Meni, what are your thoughts?
I think Julio will win by unanimous decision. Obviously, he has a 92% takedown defense, like you said. He did a great job defending takedowns versus Daniel Santos. I think
overweight Daniel Santos.
Yeah, overweight Daniel Santos.
What do you wait? Arce missed weight for that.
Oh, did RC? Oh, my bad.
I thought they said Arce missed weight.
Yeah, well, that might help with the takedown defense. But go ahead, man.
I think he's going to stay on the outside, avoid Montel's takedowns, and really use his kickboxing, which is very good, as he showed in the Santos fight. He has good body combos. He has good combos to the head. He has good kickboxing, and he's very sharp. Honestly, in that Santos fight, no disrespect to Santos, but it kind of looked like a pro versus an amateur in that fight. Like the way he was piecing Santos up. Yeah. So I like Arce in this fight, and but it should be a good one. I wouldn't be surprised either way, because Montel landed, I believe, 11 takedowns versus JP Buys. So he's very capable of wrestling well. But
he also did struggle for moments in the JP Buys fight. So anytime you struggle against JP Buys, I got it.
That was against the Felipe Colares, the 11 takedowns.
Oh, that was against Felipe Colares?
Yeah, but then 4 takedowns versus JP Buys still, and 4 knockdowns.
Exactly. 4 and 4. That's a good.
I gotta mix that up.
And then Rogue Strummer here, just checking in with the comments. Rogue Strummer, Moist Audio, great dude, saying Montel knocks him out. Okay, so you are going with Arce. We got 2 on one side. Do we have a disagreement with the third again? Wagers.
So Julio Arce, first New York guy, on the starting off the card here. First of 2 Tiger Muay Thai fighters. We're going to be breaking down what's his name? We're breaking him down next. What's his?
Oh, Trezano.
Yeah,
Tiger Schulman.
Right.
You mean Tiger Schulman? You said Tiger Schulman, not Tiger Muay Thai. Tiger Schulman.
Sorry, Tiger Schulman. Yes. So
okay, that's why I was like, "What Tiger Muay Thai guy?"
Yeah.
We don't have your reference. Yes, Michael Trezano.
Yeah, but I like Julio Arce's striking. His boxing is really crisp. This is going to be a stand-up fight, I think. He has more volume than Montel, but Montel has more power, in my opinion. So he can obviously steal rounds with knockdowns. Montel's stats are crazy. He's got the third best control time percentage in the division, the 4th best top position percentage, the 5th most knockdowns landed, the 2nd most knockdowns landed average per 15 minutes, the 2nd best significant striking accuracy, the least strikes absorbed per minute, the best takedown accuracy. Like, the list goes on. This guy, when he's
making me nervous on my pick. Will you stop?
Yeah.
Like, this is making me.
And Montel Jackson only loses to heavy grapplers like Ricky Simone in his UFC debut and to Brett Johns. And I cashed big on Brett Johns. He was like plus 200. So, yeah, if this is going to be a stand-up fight, it can go either way. They're both very, very talented in that aspect of MMA. So, I think the volume is going to be on Julio. The power, if he gets caught, Montel can obviously crack.
Yes.
Man, this is such a tough fight. I originally picked Julio, and after doing research, I think I like Montel Jackson more, so I think I might ride on Montel here. But there's so many advantages on Julio, like so many different variables, like New York, his training partner, Mike Trezano. I'm definitely making a parlay with Julio and Mike Trezano. So, yeah, there's that too.
This is a great fight. And again, I'm pretty happy to have 2-1 with this one again. I'll be surprised. I think the ones that we really agree on, as long as there's some sound logic, which there should be, I would really circle those as the ones you may want to focus on betting on. Because, again, this is a close one, but Julio Arce has a plus 175 number next to his name. You got minus 220 on Jackson, but Jackson.
Yeah, I'm not going to be parlaying Montel Jackson.
You have the Jackson recent betting lines.
Yeah, I got the Montel Jackson betting line.
What has he been lined at in the UFC?
So he is a minus 650 win, minus 650 win, minus 270 loss, minus 650 win, minus 580 win, minus 185 win, minus 120 loss, minus 300 win.
Yeah, so and he's minus 220 here. This is like a great price if you're a Montel Jackson fan, frankly. Yeah. Like this is almost his lowest price, even though 2 of his losses have come around this as well. Plus,
apparently he has the same size hands as Francis Ngannou as well. I heard that.
Yeah, he was training at the, you'll tick off all the bingo boxes of what he said on the broadcast where he was training at the Olympic Center in wrestling. before it closed down. So, he's got the credentials here. Just a few times hasn't shown up, but it's been against the best. So I can't believe I'm picking Julio Arce here.
Yeah, but this is a huge step up in competition. He just fought Jesse Strader and JP Pies.
Agreed.
Those are nobodies right now.
Exactly, and that's how you look good. But agreed. Again, 2-1 here. I'm on 2 straight underdogs to start the card here. We're to the second Tiger Schulman guy, that is Mike Trizano, taking on Sung Woo Choi here at 145 pounds. Should be a good fight. Just real quick, getting down the timestamp. But I guess I just don't read Tiger Schulman guys well, because I'm going to say a lot of the same things for Julio Arce that I said about or for Mike Trizano that I said about Julio Arce. I don't read Mike Trizano well. When I believe in him, he looks terrible like he did in his last fight. And when I don't, he busts my parlays up. So, overall, he's a well-rounded guy, pretty big for the division for sure. I'm actually going to go into his last few fights and just overall my thoughts on him. The Lucas Almeida fight particularly was, a hard one to watch because he had a good first round. It slowed down against Lucas Almeida, and Lucas Almeida just puts him away by the third round. He had nothing left. Hakeem Dawodu, I'm going to excuse that. And then Ludovic Klein, I was so sure Ludovic Klein was going to KO him. And then what did he do against Ludovic? It was Ludovic training in the States, so it's not the good Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein's only good when he trains back in Slovakia. He does not as good when he trains in the States. But Trizano did what he had to do in that fight. So I don't really know what he looks like coming into this fight. It kind of reminds me of the Ludovic fight. Frankly, I don't think there's a lot to prepare for with Sung Woo Choi. He's a good striker. He's dangerous, got a lot of power. But if you make it a grindy type of fight, make it dirty, use your wrestling, he's going to struggle a lot. And I think Mike Trizano can do that. So not 1, not 2, 3 dogs for me to start out the night, because I got Mike Trizano grinding this one out by decision.
Yeah, this might be my most confident underdog on the card, actually. Mike Trizano. Both of them, they don't have the prettiest records. Mike Trizano, 3-3 in the UFC. Woo Choi, 3-4 in the UFC. But they have fought some really good opposition. Choi has lost to Gavin Tucker in round 3, Alex Caceres in round 2, Movsar Evloev in his UFC debut, and 1 split to Kulabau. They're both coming off 2 losses in a row. They both need a win here. This is a great position for Mike Trizano to get back on track, training with his boy Julio, another New York fighter. There's not many on this card, so the crowd's going to come early, I think, for these guys.
Yeah.
Mike Trizano turns 31 next month. Woo Choi just turned 30. They're both the same age, pretty much. Mm-hmm. They both have around the same volume, but Woo Choi has more knockdowns, so Trizano definitely has to be weary on the feet, definitely mind his P's and Q's. But I'm just worried because he just got knocked out really bad in round 3 5 months ago. That's the only thing I'm worried about is his chin. But if it holds up, he should win this by a decision or a second round knockout even. Woo Choi's been finished a couple times in round 2.
Well, we got 2 on one side, and so far through 2 fights, we've split on the third. Meni, your thoughts on this fight, and then I'll go into the odds overall.
I think Sung Woo Choi is going to win by second round knockout. That's what I think. I actually think this is going to be a low key banger. I think this is going to be a really good fight for as long as it lasts. And Choi is going to catch Trizano with that counter left hook that he got Erosa with, I believe he knocked him out. Yeah, I think Choi knocked him with a left hook last June. And I think he's going to get back on a winning streak starting Saturday.
All right.
But Trizano needs to be more active. Like, he started off slow against Almeida in June. He needs to get more active. But he did drop Almeida in round 1, stealing that round. Mm-hmm. And then Almeida dropped him in round 2. But Trizano has good power. He just needs to be a little bit more active on the feet.
Yeah, and I
might change my pick. If Trizano isn't rocking a mullet, I'm going Woo Choi. I'm only picking Trizano if he has that mullet.
Yeah, Mullen power. Trezano is a pest and will have the crowd, but Choi has speed and power. Greasy, exactly. Just like the third. I mean, I'm Nikolai, Julio, and Mike Trezano for my first three on my card. I'm not lining up to bet these three as a three-piece parlay, but if I was, just so that everybody at home who's playing along can keep track, I would be at 1251 parlay for those first three. So.
And is Lucas Almeida undefeated? I'm pretty sure he's a highly respected prospect.
He lost one fight he lost a really close decision on the Contender Series.
Okay. He looked really talented, man. In that, I think that was his UFC debut.
Yeah, he's legit. So,
14 out of 14 finishes he has, Lucas Almeida. He is so fucking dangerous.
Plus 1251 on three really close fights to start out. Let's see what it becomes in this fight, which if you are confident in this fight.
I don't think we're going to disagree on this one.
I was going to say, I don't know. We probably will. If you're confident in this fight, I am really questioning, how you're really confident in this one. But really quick before I go on to the next one, Trezano doesn't have the power. His last KO was in Ring of Combat in 2017. Yeah, no, I don't think the power is exactly. I think he's a strong guy, but not a powerful guy. And then Sung Woo and Carl Uberg are too pretty for this fight shit. Give me the dogs. Thomas, I'm with you as well there. But yeah, we're gonna move on to the next one. This is 115. This is a weird fight. Carolina Kowalkiewicz taking on Silvana Gomez Juarez here, combined age of 70. So you love to see it. 13-7 versus 11-4, some real salty records. For me, 37 versus 37, so 75. Sorry, not 70, 75 years old is the combined age of these two. So Silvana has power. Carolina seems to be a newfound, well-rounded grappler from ATT. I don't know. Silvana is going to have to catch her with a shot. She probably can. Carolina was ready to retire, but then she dominated Felice Herrig, so now she thinks she's an MMA fighter again. I think Silvana's going to quickly remind her she's not. Silvana's going to knock her out. Meni, what's your thoughts?
I think Silvana's going to win by round one knockout. I think it's going to look pretty similar to the Jessica Andrade versus Carolina fight. Carolina in a lot of her fights tends to go into her opponent's striking range with her head down and her chin up, and it's very sloppy entrance. And Silvana is going to take advantage of that, just like in the Na Liang fight at UFC 275.
Oh my god, that was brutal.
What?
That was a brutal knockout of Na.
Yeah.
But she got performance of the night for that.
Yeah.
Okay, we got two on this one. Is this our first unanimous agreement?
Wait, did Brandon say?
We're finding out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carolina obviously has the experience here. UFC vet at this point, her 14th UFC fight. She's 6-7 in the UFC. She's lost only by knockout once to Jessica Andrade, who's probably the most vicious knockout artist in the women's divisions. 2 subs, 1 rear naked choke to Claudia Gadelia, 1 armbar to Jessica Pena, and then 4 unanimous decision losses to Joanna for a championship, Michelle Watterson, Alexa Grasso, and Yan Xiaonan. All those fighters are like maybe 2 or 3 times better than Silvana Gomez. How do you say it?
Juarez.
Juarez, yeah. And she's 37 at this point. I am worried about round one. She sparks people in round one. She's 6 out of 11 round one finishes, 55%, 2 under a minute 40. So yeah, if this gets out of round one, it's Carolina all day, I think. So yeah, I'm gonna take Carolina by decision.
Oh my god, we were so close.
Or maybe a submission.
We were so close.
Not all three. We're going to
get it here.
Another disagreement.
Seems like most of the chat.
And I can't believe she's almost even money. I'm betting her for sure. But I'm gonna hedge bet Silvana round one. You'll probably get decent odds round one prop bet.
Yeah, it's going to be a pick 'em by fight night, I think, just judging by the movement coming in. I'd say it's probably going to be minus 115 each way or so. Yeah, Alson Juarez. And real quick, Illinois Bigfoot. My pick for the fight is Carlos Esparza. She is cold as ice during the face-offs, like the ice man.
Yeah, she is.
Carlos Esparza.
All the way up to the fight, even in the cage.
Yeah. Carlos Esparza cold as ice, including the action. Minus 105, minus 115. Take your choice, and good luck to you. Next fight. This fight is, I think, like 2 years in the making in the 155 division. First of all, look at Matt Frivola's.
What's in the bag?
What?
What's in the bag? Remember Ottman brought something in?
Oh,
he wasn't allowed to.
They said it was potatoes.
It's just potatoes.
Yeah, apparently potatoes.
Just potatoes for Ottman. Taking on Matt Frivola here. This is at 155. Yeah, this is another fight here for me that I don't have a super strong lean on, other than that I just think that Ottman's power is legit. It's hard for me to get out of my head what Matt Frivola made Polo Reyes look like. I don't think he can get through that fire against someone like Ottman. I think in order to do that, he's going to have to wrestle the entire time. And Ottman is much better than his brother. So don't think all his Zaitars are made the same. This is superior as Zaitar. Ottman, I mean, he hasn't done anything in the last few years. So I assume he's just been taking sauce and getting better. And, like he's going to come back and knock him out and probably fail a drug test afterwards. I don't care. You cash your bet with Ottman here, in my opinion. Ottman by KO.
This is a good fight in my opinion. Ottman Azatar, definitely inactive. He only has 3 fights since 2018. He's 2-0 in the UFC. Sparking Timu Pakalin in round 1, got performance of the night, and then he sparked out Kama Worthy, who's been knocked out like 8-time Worthy, has no chin.
Recently retired Kama Worthy.
Oh, did he? Okay, good.
Yep.
Yeah, but I know he's a coach too. He has a gym, so he's got other sources of income. So, and he also got performance of the night for that fight as well. So, 100K in his first 2 fights and bonuses. So that's really good. But yeah, just I don't like the inactivity. Those 2 fighters really aren't that great. They're not in the UFC anymore. Matt Frivola, 3-3-1 in the UFC since 2018, only losing to Polo Reyes in a minute and McKinney in 7 seconds, which Ottman can obviously do. So I'm going to bet Ottman in round 1. This is similar to the last fight. If it gets out of round 1, I got Matt Frivola all day, the steamroller. He's just going to take him down. And this might be the first time we have 2 fighters coming off 4 knockdowns, because Matt Frivola came off 4 knockdowns in his last fight. And who else? Who was the other fighter? Somebody else just had 4 knockdowns in their last fight as well. Montel Jackson, yeah. So yeah, we're in for violence on this whole card, man. It's so good. And he has a draw versus Lando Venata. He's got the second most knockdowns averaged per 15 minutes, but that's a sketchy stat because of those 4 knockdowns. and those are the only knockdowns he's ever got in a UFC fight. So
right, yeah. I have talked with a fighter who has fought Matt Frivola in the UFC, who said Matt Frivola is the softest hitter he has ever gone against in a MMA competition, and he wasn't talking. That was just a private conversation. He said Matt Frivola does not possess power, so
that's why he takes his opponents down, tries to wear them out,
which would be smart here to do against a guy who's been active for 2 years. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So if this gets out round 1, I'm going to go Matt Frivola by decision or a late finish. He's going to take that O from Ottman. And I think he's another New York guy, Matt Frivola. Born in New York. So let's go.
Yep. And then just my 2, and then I'll get to you, Meni, but real quick, catch up in the comments. First of all, appreciate the chat. They've been really active today.
Ottman by potato sack knockout. Oh, we got to find that prop bet.
As well as why Frivola decided to go with the Indiana Jones Brokeback Mountain look. Give me the guy who can make steroids out of potatoes. We gotta give Steamroller some props for the weird ass suburban Indiana Jones topology picture, and then Ottman's gym bag will take over the show. Illinois Bigfoot says here. I mean, I can't really argue with that either. Many, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Wait, Brendan, you're picking Matt?
Matt Frivola, and but I'm gonna hedge bet Azatar round 1 knockout. 8 of his wins come in under 2 minutes and 58 seconds.
Right,
Yep.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Whose side are you on, Meni?
I think Ahmed will win by first round knockout. I think it'll kind of look like the I don't know how to pronounce his name, Genaro Valdez versus Frivola fight, except the reverse outcome. I think Azatar's power is going to be a little bit too much for Frivola and knock him out in round 1. But it'll last longer than the Frivola versus McKinney fight.
One thing I just realized, he might be confident in his hands coming off that last fight, and that's gonna backfire big time if he does that against Ottman. So.
Yeah,
and the other thing is, you look back and he's 3-3-1. His split decision win over Luis Pena, very, very close fight. The Arman Sarukian fight, probably his most impressive performance in his last 4. I would say even over the Valdez fight, because Genaro is not a UFC fighter. And then Terrence McKinney knocked him out cold inside of a minute. Yeah, I like Ottman here. The odds are very close. I'm quite surprised, although I understand with Ottman being off. But the last time this fight was paired up, do you have the odds on that one, wagers? Because I believe it was like minus 300 for Ottman.
Yeah, so he only has 2 times you could bet on him. Minus 130. What? Yeah, he was only minus 130.
No, I'm saying against Matt Frivola the first time. I believe he was like a minus
257, right? I think it was a 257.
Yeah, 257. I believe Ottman originally was like a minus 300 favorite. My point is now the odds have gotten much closer, even though Matt Frivola just looked really good against Genaro Valdez, and that's it. So, yeah, for me, I like Ottman. I like the minus 120 price tag. Give him to me in the first round as well. So 2 on Ottman here, 1 on Frivola. Still split up through 5 fights, which I'm totally fine with. This is the fight, though, to bring us together. It must be. It has to be, because if there's one thing Wellington Turman does, he brings MMA pickers together from all over the place. I don't listen to other people's shows too often, but I can assume the rest of them are also going Andre Petrosky here. Let's be honest. Wellington Turman has been beyond unspectacular. Is unspectacular a word? No. Do you know what it means? Yes. So am I going to use it? Sure. That's all I've got to say here. I mean, Petrosky is having, good professional grappling results as well. The decision against Phil Hawes and then the finish of Eric Anders. I like that as a way of staying sharper as well. He's looked a lot better since losing to Brian Battle on The Ultimate Fighter by that ninja choke. Wellington Turman allegedly has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I don't see any proof of it. On the feet, he's pretty underwhelming as well. I just got nothing for you. Andre Petrosky is going to roll in this one. Safe pick Petrosky somehow. But Wellington Turman is that bad. I mean, he just is. Many. Am I wrong?
Wellington beat Sam Alvey.
He got dropped by Sam Alvey, too.
Oh, my God.
Bad.
Well, Turman was deducted 2 points in that fight due to repeated eye pokes.
Yes.
Oh, he got dropped. I think Petrosky will use his wrestling and really, really grind out a unanimous decision victory over Turman. Turman, I don't think has been submitted, not for a while, and I don't think ever, at least. And I think Petrosky will have a lot of success in the wrestling department and win by decision. I think he'll dominate this fight.
I sadly agree.
Yeah. Wellington Turman, 7th UFC fight, 3-3 in the organization, losing to Sanchez in round 1, Bruno Silva in round 1, and to Carl Roberson in his UFC debut. Carl Roberson. Jesus. All right. I got Andre all days and so many of my parlays. But I am a little worried. I don't know. I'm just worried. When somebody's on a specific fighter, they always seem to lose. But yeah, he's starting off his UFC career. He couldn't start it off any better. 3-0. Hasn't beat the best names. Like Nick Maximov obviously was a really good win. Yes. But he should cruise here. Probably a decision. But I am also making a Teixeira MMA parlay with Wellington Turman, Dominic Reyes and Alex Pereira. They're all training together. So, yeah, that's another parlay I'm making. But, yeah, at the end of the day, Andre's in so many of my parlays from the last 2 weeks. Yeah, I got him all day. But I don't know. I'm just getting worried. I don't know why.
I mean, I'm worried too because I'll be candid. So this year, a lot of those surefire type of fighters for me have kind of fallen through. And this feels like another spot where I don't love getting this far behind Andre Petrosky, I'll be honest.
And he was a plus 290 his last fight. Now he's a minus 250. Like
and
crazy.
He's at I have him at minus 200 currently.
Or minus 200, yeah.
Yeah, plus 160 on Turman here. But it is our first unanimous agreement so far on the card in Andre Petrosky.
That means Wellington's going to win.
I mean, Wellington's going to starch him like round one, probably. Next fight.
He should have won that last fight, too.
This is a good fight.
This is a really good fight. Maybe the best fight on the prelims, which is really saying something because these prelims are awesome. Aaron Blanchfield versus Molly McCann. Real quick, I will always be a Molly Meatball McCann fan. When I went to the UFC in Boston back in, I believe it was 2019, and it was the fight where she was able to rebound. Got to see Dominic Reyes as well live there when he knocked out Chris Weidman. And then afterwards, I was talking to Dominic Reyes about how Chris Weidman should retire. And behind me was Chris Weidman's corner. So that was fun. I thought I was going to get into a giant fight with Chris Weidman's entire corner telling him to retire. I stand by that. Chris Weidman should have retired back then. And what would have happened wouldn't have happened. But instead, he kept fighting and lost to the guy who just beat Le'Veon Bell in boxing. Anyways, it all comes back to this. Molly McCann was who got me backstage or back to where all the fighters were in the hotel that night. So Molly McCann's my girl, straight up. She's the reason I've met a ton of my good friends within MMA, including Jillian Robertson that night, who I went up to and said, I did not bet on you against Macy Barber tonight, and I'm glad I didn't. That was literally the first thing I ever said to Jillian. Not the best opener, but became friends since then. Long story short, Molly McCann's changed a lot since that fight. She's really evolved her game greatly, and I think this is a really good fight with Aaron Blanchfield here. It's going to be very interesting on the feet because Aaron Blanchfield really has that Taekwondo background, that Taekwondo style to her game, throws a lot of kicks, doesn't throw with her hands a lot, nor would I suggest that against someone like Molly. Wrestling is a huge key. Molly can wrestle defensively, and Aaron can wrestle offensively. So whose wrestling kind of takes over in this fight, I think could play a big key as well. Molly has improved a lot. She's looked good in matchups where she's needed to look good, but I just think this is a terrible matchup for her. I think Aaron Blanchfield is going to put Molly on her back over and over and over and over again until she submits her. And Aaron is going to submit her. I think it could happen in any of the 3 rounds as well. But I just think that Molly's jiu-jitsu gets pretty bad. She starts to get overexerted in the grappling, and I think that's what Aaron's going to do. I don't like how Aaron looked against J.J. Aldrich, but I think J.J. Aldrich is a much better fighter than most people give her credit for, much more technical on the feet than Molly McCann is, but less power. And Aaron, I think, learned a lot from that fight. I like Aaron Blanchfield by submission somewhere in this fight, though, as long as she uses that wrestling. Brendan first.
Yeah, Aaron Blanchfield looking great, man. Like 3-0 in the UFC to start. She didn't even take J.J. Eldridge down. She's improved her striking so much that she made J.J. shoot for a shot, and then she got the standing guillotine in round 2. So, yeah, her striking's just ever evolving. Her ground game is already top notch. She's been doing it since she was a kid. She actually has a brother that competes in MMA as well, Brandon Blanchfield, up-and-comer heavyweight. And, so this is just a terrible matchup, man, for Molly. She got schooled by all these grapplers already. Taylor Santos, Laura Procopio, Jillian Robertson. Her last 3 wins have all come to strikers. Jae Young Kim, Luana Carolina, and Hannah Goldie. Like, and I don't think this is going to hurt her stock, Molly. Like, she's Erin Blanchfield is beating everybody at this point. She had a shutout against Miranda Maverick. We all know how good Miranda Maverick is. She 30-26, 30-25 Sarah Elpar. Like, she's just going to be all over. Like, there's just a big difference in the grappling. It's similar to Miranda and Miranda Maverick's fight last week. The striking was pretty even, but as soon as Miranda got into the grappling realm, it was game over for who the hell was it?
Shanna Young.
Shanna Young, that's right. So yeah, I see it being very similar. As soon as Molly gets success on the feet, Erin's just going to tie her up and take her down. I don't think ever since she's been submitted to Jillian Robertson, she's improved on her grappling defense so much. De Los Santos didn't submit her. So yeah, I see I'll do the double chance bet submission or decision for Erin Blanchfield.
Yeah, and I just want to point out I haven't seen Papa Chuck a lot, but me and Papa Chuck are like on the same wavelength throughout this card so far. So yeah, good again here. Meni,
Papa Chuck.
Meni, unanimous back to back here, and are we doing an Erin Blanchfield on Koski double up here?
Yeah, I think Erin Blanchfield will win by unanimous decision. It was very hard for me to pick this fight because it's kind of a tricky fight. And the reason I say it's a tricky fight is because each other's weaknesses is what the other excels in. Because Blanchfield's striking is not as good as Molly's, in my opinion, and Molly's wrestling is not as good as Erin's. So and Erin could get rocked like she was getting rocked versus JJ Aldrich, and Molly could defend takedowns, but I think Erin's gonna get it to the ground and control a lot of the fight, on the ground. There will be some striking exchanges, but for the most part, I think Erin will get to the ground and win by decision. But either way, I mean, Molly could hurt Erin on the feet. I mean,
yeah, no, and I mean, again, Thomas Chun, another guy I've been on the same wavelength with today. Aldrich Feaster. I mean, it's like you learn from those as a young 21, 22-year-old fighter. You want those early on. She doesn't need to just roll over. First of all, you don't roll over JJ Aldrich as much as people want to poo-poo JJ Aldrich. She's really good. But like she won and finished in that fight, and she's taking on another. So yeah, again,
this is just great matchmaking. The UFC's really bringing her up the right way, and she's from New York. And Molly's a company woman. I think the UFC knows what's going to happen already in this fight. It's not going to hurt Molly's stock. Erin's just going to be 4-0. They're going to keep building up Erin Blanchfield. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Who do you guys think is the best prospect in the women's flyweight division right now? Is it?
It's got to be Erin Blanchfield.
Yeah, who else?
At 23 years old.
King Casey, maybe, or Erin. Yeah.
We got to see how Casey comes back from an injury. We got to see how Casey comes back from an injury. We got to see how Casey comes back from now being a lot more famous.
Suarez is returning at flyweight.
Yes, yeah. I can't wait.
The odds are pretty crazy though. Minus 425 plus 300. I think they kind of.
That's going to get closer at the end of the week, in my opinion. Money's going to come in on Molly.
What have the odds been on Erin so far in her UFC career?
I'm going to guess in the minus 500. It's minus 500. She was actually a plus 120 versus Molly. Miranda. Yeah. And minus 400 and minus 270. So
Erin Nurmagomedov. That has a good ring to it. Erin Nurmagomedov there.
I like that. Erin Nurmi.
But we have our second unanimous here in Erin Blanchfield. Here, moving on to the second from the top in the prelims. I thought this was the featured prelim because it's just so good, but it's the second from the top. Return of Dominic Reyes here, taking on Ryan Spann. This is a hell of a 205 fight for however long it lasts. This is going to be, I think, a really entertaining fight. We're going to learn a lot about both these guys. It's crazy to me Ryan Spann made 185. He's just massive guy, and making 205 still with, plenty to spare here. Good wrestler, good grappler. His composure, I'm not crazy about sometimes, especially when he gets hurt. He starts to stick his chin up and kind of put himself into danger. And he has been put out a few times, but 20-7 career, Good career in the LFA as well. I'm an LFA diehard. With the LFA, after he lost to, or with the LFA, he's lost to Robert Drysdale, Leo Leite, and Trevin Giles in his first time around. He lost to Carl Roberson in 15 seconds. This guy's been all over the place. Beat Emmanuel Sordi on the Contender Series to get his contract. Sordi was a 2-time PFL winner. Beat him in 26 seconds. Has a few guillotine chokes, including against Devin Clark there. Knocked out Misha Serkinov. Got knocked out by Johnny Walker. Got rear naked choked by Anthony Smith after carrying him over to his corner and taking him down. Almost got dropped against Jan Kutalaba before Jan put himself in jeopardy to get guillotined. Who knows what's going to happen in this fight here. Reyes has come off 2 absolute beatings and taken some time off, but they've been beatings, man. And the last 3 fights have been rough. John Jones, he almost beat. I get it. Like, some people had it for him, some people had it for Jones. It was a close fight, and he ran with Jones, who was probably half drunk in there for 5 rounds. But it's the almost beat John Jones syndrome, which look at the guys who've almost beat John Jones and how they've done after that. Look at how Ovince St. Preux has done. Look at how Alexander Gustafsson has done. What I'm trying to say is I don't really care if you almost beat John Jones and you didn't, and then had a bunch of injuries and got beat up a bunch. Dominic Reyes got absolutely destroyed to the body against Jan Blachowicz. He had his moments against Yuri before getting knocked out by that spinning back elbow. And, that was last May. He's been off for 1.5 years since then. He's switched up his training. He's only 32 years old. I think that sorry, dogs are going to bark for a second, but maybe they're trying to, talk me into this, but I think that with this fight, I think Dom Reyes is going to come back and look pretty good in this matchup. I think this is a good matchup for him to come back in. I think he has to obviously worry about the power of Spann. I do question a little bit of Reyes' chin, but I just think Reyes is going to come back, still have a lot of that movement, the athleticism, the overall accuracy and speed here. I just think Reyes is going to end up taking Spann out somewhere in the first or second round by knockout. I think someone goes down in this one. The under 1.5 would be tempting for me as well. Meni, what is your and the dogs obviously are barking here, so go ahead and go with Ryan Spann.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Reyes will win this fight by round 2 knockout. I think it will really be a banger, all stand-up fight for as long as it lasts, for the first round and a half until Reyes gets back on track with a win and knockout win at that. Reyes does have to be careful of Spann's guillotine because he has submitted several fighters with that in his MMA career, so he's got to be very wary of that. But I think Reyes will avoid those submissions, avoid takedowns if he needs to, and win by knockout in round 2.
Yeah, once in a while when someone comes into my house, the dogs will get super pumped because the door is open, and they're like, "Oh my God, the door is opened!" And yeah, the rest of the time the dogs are good. But yeah, 2 on Reyes here. And by the way, I hate his line here in this fight, but we gotta make picks. Brandon, what's your thoughts on Brandon? What's your thoughts? Sorry, not Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon. God damn, sorry.
It happens all the time, but yeah, this is probably my least confident pick so far on the card.
Interesting. Yeah,
it's a very hard fight to break down and pick. I'm gonna take the under for sure. Yes. Both these guys are finishers. Both these guys have been finished. Big stakes, obviously. If Ryan Spann can get through Dominic Reyes, he's definitely moving up the ladder big time. And this is a must-win for Dominic Reyes too, coming off 2 really bad losses.
3 straight losses, technically.
Yeah, 3, but
John Jones.
But in his mind, he beat John Jones.
Wow.
Obviously, it doesn't say that on the record books. Yuri Prochazka, he got knocked out how many times? Like, that was brutal, man. And he almost knocked out Yuri as well. It got fight of the night. Ryan Spann has that club and sub ability. If Dominic Reyes gets hurt and just goes into grappling mode, Ryan Spann can fucking snatch that neck up so quick. I've seen it done multiple times. So yeah, I'm gonna look at the submission prop for Ryan Spann. Like I said, this fight, flip a coin. I'll take Dominic Reyes just to disagree.
Oh, we all are on Dominic Reyes.
Oh, I thought you guys both picked Reyes in round 2. Okay, I'll pick Spann round 2 sub.
Okay. Yeah, the odds either way, I want nothing to do with this. Minus 220 on Reyes coming back from the layoff. 3 straight losses, beat downs in the last 2. At least he has a real coach now.
Pretty inactive as well.
Reyes' coach is not his brother anymore, so that's good. He has real coaches now, so that's helpful. But yeah, plus 175 on Spann, I get it. I get anybody who's on that completely. But yeah, it's just
I don't. MMA has been looking hot lately, but Dominic Reyes is on that parlay, the Teixeira parlay. Reyes, Pereira, and Wellington Turman.
Exactly, he is training with Glover up there. So Glover does seem like a good coach. This one should be under seems like the spot here. Spann is killer be killed. Can't see Ryan winning a decision, but definitely live for a KO or Somish. I agree with you. Just my 2 cents. Next fight here. This is the featured prelim. I like the respect here for Brad Riddell and Renato Moicano. These guys both are just on the cusp of being ranked, I think, at 155. Very, very good. They mirror each other in a lot of ways. Moicano, I think, is the guy who has the huge advantage when it comes to the ground, when it comes to the grappling. On the feet, I think he's a little better than Riddell is in the grappling compared to Moicano, compared to Riddell on the feet compared to Moicano, if that makes sense. So Riddell does have the edge on the feet. He's a former stand-up instructor with, I believe, Tiger Muay Thai, not Tiger Schulman. But Riddell's really welded his grappling into account as well. I'm not going to hold it against him too much. What Jalen Turner did against him, I actually had the Jalen Turner bet. Shout out to Kelly, who kind of tipped me on that a little bit. But yeah, Jalen Turner just is that ever evolving type. But Brad Riddell really good everywhere, good on the feet. I just think Moicano is a little bit faster and more smooth on the feet. And I'm going to venture to say Moicano uses his grappling in this fight. And if he does, and he's on top, I think he's going to get to a unanimous decision. I think this is very, very close. I think it's going to be, well contested on the feet for a lot of it. But I think Moicano gets the takedowns. As shown, he is willing to go to the takedowns when he needs to. I just don't think Riddell, if he goes to wrestling, that would be a good idea. If he does, he's going to get submitted. I think Moicano will snatch up the neck on a sloppy takedown attempt by Riddell, which Riddell has shown if he gets tagged on the feet, Riddell will go to the takedowns, which is how Jalen Turner was able to submit him. Could be on Moicano submits him too. Moicano has really good neck attacks. But I just like Moicano by finish, Moicano by decision. I think as long as Moicano is smart here, he wins this. So, yeah, Moicano, I love his line as well. So let's go to Meni first here, and then we'll finish up with Brandon.
Yeah.
Meni. Meni. We're going to go Meni. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
It's all good.
It's all good. I think Moicano will win this fight. I didn't have a prediction coming into this, but thinking about it, visualizing it, I think Moicano's going to win by first round submission. I think he's going to find a way somehow, right? Not somehow, you know what I'm saying? He's going to find a way to get Riddell on the ground and submit him. Probably by
Damn, don't you put that juju on us, Moise.
No, I don't think he's going to get James Vick. I think Moicano will find a way to get this to the ground and submit Brad Riddell in round 1, 2 or 3 minutes into the fight.
Cool. All right. Brandon, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is another fight. I don't have a strong lean on either fighter. It should be a great 3-round fight. I'm going to take them both by split decision. Renato Moicano has only lost to the best of the best, but he has been knocked out 3 times, but it was to Jose Aldo, the Korean Zombie, and Rafael Fiziev. These guys have both been knocked out by Rafael Fiziev. He lost by a guillotine to Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega, one of the best in the world. and he lost a unanimous decision to RDA in a 5-rounder coming in short notice. So
He looks
you
so
can't
good.
really hold any of those losses against him. He's a very talented fighter. He's a kind of a one-trick pony, though. He's got 9 submission wins, all by rear naked choke. If there was a specific prop bet, I would take the rear naked choke prop. But yeah, Brad Riddell's a tough out, but he does go to his grappling. He's taken guys down in his last 5 fights. He has takedowns in his last 5 fights. So yeah, that's not going to go well for him.
Here.
If he takes Moicano down, he's in trouble, man. So, but on the feet, Brad Riddell's better. So I don't know. I'm going to take the split decision. It's going to be a close fight. Brad Riddell's on my city kickboxing parlay. And yeah, I like the over. I'll take the over as well.
Yeah, I mean, just by 2 cents already said that he's doing a split play by saying Riddell Moicano is a greasy horse show, which is the same as the split play. That's
exactly. Yeah, we both agree there.
If you're saying that about a fight, take the split play. Just it's a good way to watch those fights.
These past 2 fights, I wouldn't invest heavily on this fight and the Reyes and Spann fight.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised on the odds here. Again, minus 125 on Moicano, even money on Riddell. A lot of people seem to be like a Riddell here. So yeah, I'm a bit. I was expecting Moicano to be a bit more of a favorite, but so far at 155,
yeah,
he's not looked incredible, but not looked terrible. So we'll see.
Yeah, that Moicano fight versus RDA was a beatdown.
Yeah, but it was also like one where Moicano was able to get a lot of stock up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's true.
We'll see. And yeah, this is
next. RDA felt bad for him. He's like,
he's so bad.
Yeah, this next fight here, beginning of the main card, and I love that this is on the main card for Claudio Puelles. But Dan Hooker's back again.
One of my favorite fighters.
Geez, well, congratulations. I've been having trouble watching Dan Hooker for a while now, but we'll see in this one if he gets it back because again he's a favorite coming into this fight, and at least at this moment the line has been getting steamed towards Claudio Puelles like constantly. I got Claudio at plus I believe 170. He's not at plus 125 as of this recording. He will beat the favorite by fight night. I'm fairly willing to say that. I am not sure why Dan Hooker is the favorite other than who Dan Hooker has previously faced. His 1 win in his last 5 is over Nasrat Haqparast, which, okay.
He's a karate fighter.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and Dan is still the favorite currently. Yes, Illinois Bigfoot. Dan is still currently the favorite. I just don't get it, man. I don't see it. I think Claudio's looked better and better since early in his career. He's 26 years old now. He's got legitimate submission abilities. What he did against Clay Guida was just a thing of beauty, going from the neck to the arm to the leg. He's got multiple heel hooks in the UFC for a reason. He's going to submit Dan Hooker somewhere in this fight. Maybe Claudio shows that his stand-up's a little better at the beginning, but I just think he doesn't need to do that necessarily. Probably locks up another leg lock somewhere in the first round. But Claudio Puelles, my dog of the night. Yeah, sorry. I got him at plus 160. I'm checking. I got him at plus 140 again, and now he's at plus 125. And I would still suggest getting him. This is a passing of the torch. I get that Dan Hooker's only lost to the best lately, but Claudio is on his way up. Dan is just in that just no man's land of his career. Brandon, do you disagree?
Yeah, sort of. I just think Dan Hooker is going to be able to keep this on the feet, where he shines and get back in his winning ways. He's got the 3rd best takedown defense in the UFC lightweight division, which speaks volumes because that's a pretty heavy grappling division. He lost to Islam coming in short notice. Like that's going to happen. He didn't even tap either. The ref had to stop the fight. Arnold Allen, that was a mistake going to featherweight. That was like, I don't know why he did that, drop 10 pounds. He said he's never doing that again. Yeah, Dustin Poirier, fight of the night. That's why I'm such a big fan. That Dustin Poirier fight, like that was one for the books, man. And that was an absolute war. Dan Hooker has a lot of wear and tear, but I just don't think this Peruvian fighter has the striking ability to hang on the feet with Dan Hooker, and if he can't get it down, I think he's in for a rude awakening. So unless Claudio has improved his striking leaps and bounds, I got Dan Hooker to win a unanimous decision here, keep it on the feet, and outpoint him.
Nicely done. I like this. And yeah, there's people in the comments. I never have a problem with people disagreeing, or and I always will read differing opinions. Claudio will not be the favorite by fight night. Dan has the better striking above average takedown defense and doesn't get subbed unless it's Makhachev. Which, Dan, are we seeing?
He has been subbed 2 other times, 2 rear naked chokes, both in round 2, but that was early in his career.
Yeah. Hooker is going to KO Puelas. This fight's probably going to stay on the feet. Puelas is sub or bust. Thomas agrees. And then, Illinois Bigfoot saying it is. And then if he's truly shot, then this fight will show us, and I will never pick Hooker again. Fair enough. Yeah, this is the crossroads. I'm going against Hooker. We've got 1-1 here. Meni, whose side are you on?
I think Puelas, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Claudio will win by first-round submission. I think it's going to kind of look similar to the Makhachev fight. It might not be one of those, like a traditional takedown, but Puelas will find a way to get to the ground and submit Hooker. I just don't think this is a very good matchup for Dan Hooker at all. Like, Claudio is very, very, very underrated. He's very good.
I think Dan needed to take a lot more time off than he's taking as well.
Yeah, and fight a favorable matchup too. Like someone like, I don't know, unranked someone maybe.
Yeah,
what he did with Jordan Levitt was really impressive. Actually, if he implements that game plan versus Dan Hooker, he's going to win. Yeah, any plus money against. I forgot about that Jordan Levitt fight.
And then Thomas Chun saying any money plus money against Hooker seems like a good take nowadays. Fair enough. Yeah, I got playlist as well. Plus 125, as I said, coming into the breakdown here. Minus 155 on Hooker. Take your side and move on. But great way to start out the main card. I'm a huge playlist fan from what I've seen. And now we're on to the retirement fight. Oh, my God. If you have a strong feeling on this one, congratulations as well. This one is one I don't personally have a strong feeling on. Frankie Edgar's retirement fight against Chris Gutierrez here. I mean, you can go through the entire record of Frankie Edgar. He's 41 years old now coming into this fight. Bantamweight. It's time to hang it up. And he's going against a legit guy in Chris Gutierrez. Frankie Edgar can't take leg kicks for shit. Chris Gutierrez is one of the best leg kickers in the game. Chris Gutierrez is going to finish Frankie Edgar, I think, in this fight. Or it's going to be a rough decision where he just kind of keeps his distance and Frankie just kind of shows that the step too slow he is. Really shows up when you've cut down 2 weight classes from where you really had your run at, which was 155. He's not 135. 41 years old. He should have been doing this 10 years ago, not now. It's too late. He got his legs lit up against Rafael Assunção, against Jose Aldo twice, and Chris Gutierrez is faster than both those guys probably at this point. Maybe not Aldo back when they fought, but still, I think it's the same type of thing. I genuinely hope Frankie Edgar fucking wins this fight and we're all partying and we're drinking in the crowd, and I would hear in Biggie and just I'll be crying in front of my girl, like if Frankie wins or loses, probably. I'm a huge fan of Frankie Edgar. And last time I went to Madison Square Garden, I got my wish, which was a Cheeto Vera knockout. This time I want to see Frankie win in New York. I really do. So I'm not betting this one. This is a pure fan fight for me. Not to mention the odds are in a spot where I wouldn't touch Gutierrez. Gutierrez probably wins this one, but go Frankie. Brandon, what's your
thoughts? Frankie Edgar knows he's done after this fight. A lot of fighters don't know when to hang it up. At least he recognizes it. I really hope he goes off with a win, but it's really rare in MMA that fighters retire off a win. But Chris Gutierrez, those kicks are going to lead to takedowns, in my opinion. Like, every time he throws a kick, he has to be worried about Frankie Edgar's takedown abilities. But in this day and age, everybody knows how to get up from takedowns. But even against Marlon Vera, who's a very talented striker, he was going to win that fight.
Yeah, it was 1-1.
Was it one? Okay, then he would have lost on
And it was like in the first round was just like Marlon Vera not doing anything, which is why he didn't win, which is what like
they were
Marlon
both just like kind of circling each
it
other.
wasn't like oh my god, Frankie's really giving it to
Marlon's a slow starter. Marlon's always a slow starter.
Yeah, it's just like one of those again, like Chris doesn't fight that way exactly. Cody Durden, I get it. Cody Durden, that was one bad round.
Yeah, Cody Durden is a wrestler as well, and that's where Chris Gutierrez struggled. It was a draw, but it was only that one round that he got the body lock, right? The rear, the body triangle. But yeah, Chris Gutierrez, if he does land a couple leg kicks, it's going to be over for Frankie. Like, I hate to say it, 17 years in the game, 18-10 in the UFC, champion. Chris Gutierrez is a great guy too, man. I hope for big things for him as well. So
this is a huge opportunity. Like, and
I'm gonna be happy either way. And
Go ahead. Sorry.
What were you saying?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I just I got Frankie by decision or Chris by knockout. That's pretty much how it goes in this fight.
Yep. All right. And I really hope it doesn't end with a draw. Please don't have a draw. We need a resolution here. Otherwise, Chris Gutierrez, Frankie 2 in 2023. Meni, what's your thoughts?
It might look like Jared Cannonier versus Israel Adesanya with the leg kicks.
Yeah, Meni,
Anderson Silva. Sorry, Anderson Silva and Jared Cannonier.
I think Gutierrez is teammates with Jonathan Martinez, right?
Yeah, they're really good friends. And
they're really good friends. And this is kind of a similar fight to up and coming Gutierrez, like a Jonathan Martinez versus Cub Swanson. So, and it might look very, very similar to that one. I think Gutierrez will win this fight by unanimous decision. He has one of the best leg kick games in all of MMA, and I think he's going to utilize it to the fullest on Saturday night and win by unanimous decision. I don't see Frankie Edgar really stopping Gutierrez leg kicks.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Edgar's.
He's been knocked out 3 times in his past 4 fights, Frankie.
Yeah. Chris will stay on his bike and tune him up. Only thing I worry about is Gutierrez is a robbery. Crowd will be roaring for Frankie.
That might be
very good point.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like who the fight means more to now, I think it's Gutierrez in terms of like progression to division. Yeah, it's like a really surprising. Again, this is what I love about this card. Top to bottom, there isn't that fight where it's like, oh, they could have easily screwed this up in the matchmaking with how they did it with Frankie here. And also, they even put him on the main card, which is where he belongs. I mean, like, good job all the way around. Placement.
I know one fight, I think that's coming up next that they didn't mess up the matchmaking there.
Yeah.
This is going to sell really well, this pay-per-view.
Yeah, and Chris Gutierrez, minus 220. Frankie Edgar, plus 180 for his retirement fight. So,
and we're unanimous on that.
Yep, we are unanimous there. We are all against Frankie.
I know this fight.
I really hope we're all wrong. I'll be honest. I won't say that often.
Yeah, me too.
I'll say it there. Next fight. This fight is
your guy Michael Chandler. Aaron, Mr. Guy.
I just can't get away from Michael Chandler. Even though I don't want to see him fight, I've seen him fight 3 times now.
My favorite UFC fighter.
I guess so. I've seen him nearly more than any guy I've seen. I've seen Volkanovski 3 times as well. So at least there's a choice in one of those. But in all seriousness, I've gotten to see some great Michael Chandler fights. Got to see him against Justin Gaethje, which everybody but me thought was like fight of the year.
Yeah, I didn't think. After, like, in the moment, it was crazy, but afterwards, everyone was saying like fight of the year. We were both there live. I didn't really see it like that. I don't know. Maybe it was blurry, but
yeah,
I don't know.
And then Thomas, who are you referring to here? This guy's hilarious. Didn't like him at first, but he's a dude. Is that Michael Chandler you're referring to? Me or someone else? I'm curious.
I thought you were talking about me.
Or are you talking about Meni? Chandler. Okay, Thomas. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I've come a little away on Chandler. He's fine. He's whatever. He's harmless. I'll say that. This is a good fight here. Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier, 2 very, very tough guys. I feel like with Michael Chandler, the classic is if he wrestles, he's going to be a lot better. And I mean, if he uses his wrestling in this fight, he definitely has a chance to really win this fight and probably by a decision. I would think. I think either way this goes to a decision. I think both these guys are just too veteran, too seasoned too sound to really put each other in jeopardy. If anything, Dustin Poirier could wear him down with his precision striking and get a TKO late, possibly as well. But I think Dustin Poirier is a little longer, stronger, smoother, quicker. Chandler's a little more explosive by wrestling. I think Poirier has good takedown defense and good grappling as well. Yeah, I love the over 1.5, Thomas. I think that's a great spot as well. I think it's a close fight. I think if Chandler's not stupid, he can really win this fight pretty decisively, though.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
I think he can. Yeah, I think he can take down and rinse.
Oh yeah, yeah. If he uses wrestling, yeah.
Right,
Sure.
and can he keep that going? Yeah, I think he can. I just think this is going to be a close decision. Either way. Dustin Poirier definitely has his route to win, but I'm going with Michael Chandler by decision. I think he uses the wrestling and banks a couple rounds, and it's a close fight. Chandler wins and calls out Makhachev for the Rocky IV title because they need someone to sell this pay-per-view next, and it's either going to be Volkanovski or Chandler. Poirier is not fighting Makhachev because that would sell 12 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Facts, business. Michael Chandler by decision.
I think it's Meni.
Oh, me?
Oh, man, go ahead. Yeah, sorry, I lost track.
I don't feel confident in this pick, but I will pick Michael Chandler by round 2 knockout. I think it'll be a complete back and forth war for the first round and a half, and then Chandler lands a shot on Poirier, puts him away, and then probably calls out Islam Makhachev for a title fight. But I'm not confident in this pick at all. But it's hard to say. It's
a
great fight. I'll admit it. It's a great fight. I'm going to be excited to see this one.
Yeah. This is the people's main event for sure. Dustin Poirier is a French UFC Hall of Famer. 20 wins in the UFC, 6 losses. He's only lost to Conor McGregor. We all remember that one. Khabib, losing to Khabib, we can write that off. Michael Johnson, he got caught at 1:35. Oliveira in round 3 for that championship. Korean Zombie in round 4 when he was at featherweight. And then he lost by 2 unanimous decisions to Danny Castillo and Cub Swanson way back in the day. But I think Dustin Poirier striking, boxing is a lot more crisper than Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's more of a, just he's not that technical. He's more of a just throw bombs by the hip and try to knock people out. And that's going to play right into Dustin's game. I think he's going to start. I think the first round's going to be back and forth. I think Michael Chandler might even knock him down. And if Michael Chandler goes in for a takedown, we all know Dustin's going to go for that guillotine that he's never even finished. He always goes for guillotines, but he doesn't have one guillotine finish on his record.
Which could play to Chandler's advantage.
That I think Dustin's going to easily be able to get up from takedowns. I think Michael Chandler's going to play into the crowd, keep it on the feet. First round's going to be close, but Dustin Poirier is going to find his range, start piecing up Michael Chandler in round 2, potentially finish him in round 2, or bank 2 rounds to get that unanimous decision.
So you got Poirier?
I got Dustin Poirier by unanimous or split.
And this is another split one. I mean, this has
round
to be the
round 2 knockout even. Round 2 knockout prop.
This has to be the most disagreements we've had on the show, and I think it's totally valid with this kind of card. I love it.
All of it too.
Yeah, just my 2 cents. I can't stand Dustin Poirier, dude, but I'm going to go with Dusty here. I just hope Chandler clips him.
There should be an agreement on the next fight.
Yeah. We will. But for as many times as Chandler goes into the fire, he's always lied to find something. So it should be a good one. The odds are with Dustin Poirier here at -230, plus 185 on Michael Chandler. I think that's a really nice size bet there. It'll be interesting to see this one. Kind of wish it was 5 rounds, but I think it's good for Chandler. So, should be a good one. Co-main event time. It's an execution. This is an execution. We've had very, very large favorites on a couple title fights coming into this one. where the title holder was the big underdog, and we've got another one here in Carla Esparza. The last one was Glover Teixeira was the fairly large underdog against Yuri. That was a great fight, but Yuri did win. Before that, and then Makhachev obviously against Oliveira. That was much closer, but Makhachev did make it look good here. Weili Zhang is the next one in that category to do this. Carla Esparza, she's going to be spamming those takedowns. She's going to be going for the wrestling the entire time, all 5 rounds. Can she do it? Maybe. If she does, God, we're going to have an unhappy crowd, but I don't think she does. I think Zhang knocks her out inside of 2 rounds here, and the crowd goes wild when Carla goes down and then leaves her gloves in the middle of the octagon and goes and has babies, which is what Carla really wants to do at this point with a new husband. Zhang's going to destroy her. Execution, murder. We're too late on the line at this point, but God, good for Carla. Getting your belt back. You're just, please go away. Zhang KO.
That last fight, God, I just wish that fight
the worst fights ever.
Yeah, it was. I'd rather watch paint dry, but but Carla Esparza, man, she's getting up there in age too. 35 in the vlogs I've watched. She's looking like I don't know. She's just looking a little elderly at this point. And Zhang Weili is friggin' man. She's been just throwing bombs. I don't know. She looks vicious, man. She looks fast, but I'm just scared of the endurance, the conditioning. Carla Esparza always has that in her back pocket. She can go strong for 5 rounds. But Weili Zhang, she reminds me of like a Peter Yan. Like she's good everywhere. Takedowns, knockdowns. I have her in parlays since Joseph Pfeiffer fought, so I'm really banking on her here.
What did you get her at? What did you get her at back then? What was the price?
Minus 334.
Okay, minus 425 now. So CLV.
Yeah, so I beat the line a bit, pretty good there. And she's training out a Fight Ready MMA with all the champs there. Davison Figueiredo.
This one.
Oh shit! Okay.
She's at Bang Muay Thai.
Okay.
Or not Bang Muay Thai. Not Bang Muay Thai. Not Bang Muay Thai. Tiger Muay Thai.
Oh, even better. Yeah, she's just going to add more tools to her game. Yeah. Just the conditioning. That's the only thing I'm worried about. And Carla has been knocked out twice to Joanna in round 2, and she got ground and pounded to Suarez in round 3. So, and she's lost by 3 decisions, all split decision losses. So she might look underestimating, but she's always a tough out. And I'm gonna have to hedge bet because I have so much invested on Weili. So I'm gonna go Carla Esparza hedge bet decision.
Yep, and just my 2 cents. The only one taking Cookie Monster I've seen so far. Monster Banks.
We got somebody.
And still, Meni, you're on the execution angle, right?
Yeah, Zhang Weili. Okay, I'll just be generous and say round 2 KO. She's going to flatline Carla Esparza on November 12th at Madison Square Garden, UFC 281, and get her belt back.
Like Joanna, probably the Joanna fight.
Yeah.
Justin's saying we never know. James Brown says anything's possible. I like Weili, but when you the champ or championship fight, you never know. Both of them are there.
Yeah, but Carla didn't. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I got Zhang, and I agree with the odds at minus 425. So we'll see how I look on Monday. But all 3 of us unanimously agree.
Was Meni finished? I don't know if he was finished.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say Zhang Weili, right, round 2 KO.
Yeah, me too.
She's gonna flatline her. I mean, it's gonna be
I think we all agree there. So we'll keep it short, and we're on to the main event.
Let's go.
And you did say Michael Chandler and Poirier was the people's main event, but this is the main event for a reason. And I'm not always crazy when guys get fast tracked to the main event to, basically Pereira. He was on the featured prelim in his first fight ever in the UFC. I was at it against Michailidis. Michailidis got the takedown.
Yeah.
And it's like, but put him away. And I think Alex showed really good composure there. Since then, he's just went to distance with Bruno Silva, which I actually was happy to see. It didn't bother me too much. He was pretty dominant in that one as well. Landed a ton of good shots. And then Sean Strickland fought the worst game plan in the history of game plans to get Alex Pereira here to a title shot.
Yeah,
so,
I knew you'd stand up to it. Yeah.
That's how like a pedestrian would fight.
Yeah. I mean, congratulations, Sean. I'm sure you got an extra bonus check from the UFC for not shooting for a takedown. They probably took care of you very well. And you're probably going to get a really good matchup in your next 5 matchups now for allowing
us. He's got Cannonier now. I think he got Cannonier now on December
17th. So I guess not then. Never mind. They're not going to do you any favors. They must have just paid you. But Pereira here versus Israel Adesanya. They both won once before. This is the 3rd time Adesanya was winning, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't really matter to me. Israel Adesanya is not going to fight. Is going to fight so much better than anyone who has faced Alex Pereira in MMA has fought. That I really just think that Izzy, if anything, mixes up some takedowns at some point in this fight and really shows welcome to MMA here. Maybe you see Pereira, kind of talking from the ground, throwing his hands up like, why are we wrestling here? It wouldn't surprise me if Izzy went that route. If it does stay on the feet, I think Izzy is just too slick and too smart, too intelligent to put himself really into harm's way early on when those shots are, going to be at their most effective. I get Pereira carries that power through 5 rounds, can knock anybody out with the MMA gloves for sure. But I just think that, with Pereira, he's KO or bust here. And I just don't think he's going to reach Izzy in this fight the way he wants to. I think Izzy puts on a clinic here, and maybe he gets a late finish, but it's probably another decision for Israel Adesanya in this one, if I'm being honest. He's not going to put himself in harm's way. Maybe Israel submission is a play I would consider putting a play on because, that would be quite a statement if he gets a submission finish. And it could be a really smart route against a guy like Pereira. Pereira's KO or bust. Pereira getting the KO would be awesome. It would be a lot of fun. I don't know what would happen to the middleweight division, but I'm here for it if it happens. Israel Adesanya by decision. I got to go with my brain here. Meni, what's your thoughts on this fucking awesome matchup?
Yes, sir. I'm nervous. Obviously, Israel Adesanya, my favorite fighter. This is tough to call, right? I think Adesanya will win by unanimous decision. What route he will take to get there remains to be seen, obviously. I think he's going to use a lot of leg kicks, a lot of jabs. I think he might, I don't know, he'll try for takedowns, but he might use the clinch a lot. Can you see him using the clinch a lot, Aaron, maybe?
Yeah.
Like tying him up in the clinch, kind of like a boxing fight. And holding him there, and just figuring out ways to, keep Pereira at a distance from him when they're on the feet, at range. But Pereira's left hook is, that's a valid option. Very, very, very dangerous weapon for Pereira for all 25 minutes. Very dangerous, like almost magical knock touch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he's got death touch.
He's got, yeah.
And he looks in tremendous shape too. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how he makes 185. I really don't, but he clearly keeps his nutrition in check all year round. You can see on the embedded, he's in phenomenal shape. And the other thing is, he's a very spiritual fighter. Both these guys are very spiritual. They really believe in themselves, and they also believe, I think, in the kind of the energy and the higher power of combat, which some people may roll their eyes at, but you look at a lot of the champions right now, Weili Zhang, when she becomes champion, Yuri obviously is a big believer in that. Israel Adesanya. I mean, this is an awesome fight, and it's going to be so intense throughout the 25 minutes regardless, I think, for me. Brandon, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Israel all day in this fight. I just think the first initial round is going to be dangerous. Well, obviously all 5 rounds. If Alex Pereira catches him with that left hook, the death punch, it's over. But Israel is going to mind his P's and Q's. He's done this how many times now? He's 12-1 in the UFC, only losing to Jan Blachowicz.
Yep.
Yeah, he's done this 12 times, man. He's so seasoned. He's so good. this isn't kickboxing. This is MMA. It's totally different. The angles are different. The footwork's different. The cage is different. The canvas is different. Like Alex Pereira has only fought 3 times in the UFC. He's 35. That's why the UFC is doing this. Israel called for this fight. It's going to be so sad if he gets knocked out. But I got Israel by decision. These guys know each other so well. I don't see either of them getting knocked out. And I see it being a 50-45, maybe 49-46 decision for Israel. But I wouldn't be shocked if Israel gets a knockout. Pereira has been knocked out twice in kickboxing, so both times in round 2. And if Israel can start finding that range, he can definitely put it on Pereira late. And Israel is my final leg on that City Kickboxing parlay, and Pereira is my final leg on the Teixeira MMA parlay. So either way, hopefully one of them wins. And Israel's going to be on a lot of other parlays, so I can hedge bet Pereira by knockout because that's the only way I see him winning.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah. Well, on all the disagreements, we are ending with a unanimous decision of Israel Adesanya, and we all agree that.
If Izzy wins, what do you and Brendan too? Well, what do you think should be next for him? Him versus Hamza? Izzy versus Hamza next?
I mean, probably he has to sit out for a little bit. I don't really know. I don't care. Whoever he's next, I'm not much of a matchmaker, so I guess I don't care. Brandon,
a winner of Whitaker and Costa, maybe he's run through the whole division. There's not really any big names.
Hamza's such an intriguing option, though. Like the Hamza fight is such an intriguing option.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't care. I just want to see him keep fighting.
Oh wow, you would? Oh wow.
Yeah. Close the distance. Hamza's just gonna. He's a big dude, man. Hamza.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but if you do take the 14 fights I've gone with through this fight card, you're at a plus 400,000 or 500 parlay. So that's the kind of fight card.
Israel, I love his odds in this fight.
A
lot of people are.
By the way, Izzy is only a minus 210 favorite.
Well, I thought he was minus 170. I guess money came in on Israel.
Yeah, minus 210 now. Favorite, but yeah, I'm not going to go through quick picks for 3 of us. That would take another hour. But yeah, that's going to do it for this breakdown. I want to thank Brandon and Meni for making the time here. This has been a great breakdown. Had a great chat here. Moise, Justin, Thomas, Rogue Strummer, all of you, and I really appreciate all the support here. I'm going to really enjoy being at 281. There's no doubt about it. I will be there start to finish. Got my seats. Very, very good. Perfect shot, of the arena. Madison Square Garden, there's not a bad seat in the house. I'll just say that if you ever can make it there. Papa Chunk, thank you. Illinois Bigfoot, appreciate it. Just my 2 cents. Appreciate you as well. Meni, tell people where they can find you.
Hey.
What is your fight of the night?
My fight of the night is Poirier versus Chandler. I think that's gonna be fight of the night, and you can find me at Meyer Meni, MAYERMENI on Twitter, and MMA Ideas on Instagram. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Meni. You've been a huge supporter, and as always, you're always welcome here. Brandon, where can people find you? What's your fight of the night?
Yeah, fight of the night. I agree with Meni. Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. Did you say yours?
I'll say mine in a second.
Okay, and then you can find me Brandon Piper, not Brendan, Brandon Piper on Facebook. That's my most popular platform, Facebook. So hit me up on there. Even if you type in MMA wagers, it'll probably pop up. And great show, guys. Thanks for having me, Aaron. And it was an awesome time.
Yeah, anytime. And shout out to Norton, even though Norton hasn't been here in a minute. We always love you, Lewis. He's starting a new job, and he's like in Sweden half the time. He's in London. He's all over the place, but doing big things. My fight of the night is Claudio Puelles versus Dan Hooker. By the way, I think that is going to be awesome. And we're going to either find out Dan Hooker is not dead in dust, or we're going to realize Claudio Puelles is really, really good. So, that's going to be my fight of the night. Fight of the night for Illinois Bigfoot before we leave is Carla Esparza. Say no more. Like not even a fight. I love it. But yeah, appreciate it, everybody. I will be at the fights. Probably gonna try to put out maybe a quick picks video for the Cage Warriors that is on Saturday as well. That's really good. Cage Warriors really close. Just without Lewis, I chose not to do it, but might do a quick picks. But we'll see. But for Meni, for Brandon, for Brendan, whoever Brendan is out there, and the dog here to say, enjoy the fights this weekend and keep taking care of each other out there. Peace out. Thank you all.
Peace.